New Year's. It's the time for people making broad, overgeneralized goals, getting upset and emotionally eating when they fail them, and then vowing to never make a goal on New Year's again. It's a beautiful time of year that unfortunately gets a little bit clouded by people's misjudgment of goals that they can follow through with and what they're capable of. Just because it's changing to the first day of a new year doesn't mean that you're any different than the person you were the day before. That means that if you are angry and you want to be less angry, you are not going to suddenly be happy on January 1st. If you want to lose weight but you can never seem to find the motivation to work out and eat better, that's not going to change on January 1st. And I'm not saying this to discourage you or tell you that any of your goals are impossible or unattainable. I'm just saying this to be real. And honestly, it should be a comfort to know that you're not changing, making a 180-degree switch on January 1st. Don't you want to be the same person you are, just a little bit better? Don't you want to keep your passion and your fire, but hone in those skills for more worthwhile passions and more worthwhile things to set yourself on fire for? That was weird. The whole point of a New Year's resolution isn't to vow to be someone that you're not. It's to say, hey, like, I'm cool with the person I am now, but it would be even cooler if I did this. This can be whatever you want to do in your life. And this is what this video is going to be about. What can you do every single day beginning on January 1st to change your life, to change your future, to change your mindset and your physical body and everything in your spirituality? What can you do differently that you couldn't do on December 31st? In short, this is going to consist of a few steps that I'm just going to throw out there now and then go more in depth to. Step 1, choose a broad, generalized goal. Step 2, hone in on that goal and choose something more specific and attainable within your ultimate goal of that year. Number 3, make sure it's manageable, make sure it's something that you can definitely stick to or attempt to stick to. And 4, don't beat yourself up if you fail or mess up or don't do it one time. An example of this kind of outline for goal making would be this. Say that you are a little bit overweight. A lot of people would make their ultimate goal of the year to lose 40 pounds. Okay, so you want to lose 40 pounds. What are you going to do about it? That's what leads you to step 2. What is a more manageable, specific goal within the realm of that larger goal you want to achieve that you can work toward? Maybe you could vow to go to the gym 3 times a week. If you don't want to pay for a gym or you can't afford one, vow to do Pilates from a YouTube video 3 times a week or twice a week, whatever is manageable for you right now. Again, you're not going to change that much from the person that you were on December 31st to January 1st. Midnight is not some magical spell that's going to wipe away all fears you have of working toward this goal. If it's a big goal or something you've been avoiding for a long time, you've probably been avoiding it for a reason. You're probably scared of doing it or of your life changing. Maybe you're just lazy. And all of these are totally valid, understandable reasons. I am 100% guilty of this. So okay, you've chosen your more specific goal. You want to go to the gym 3 times a week. So for the first couple weeks of January, you go 3 times a week, but then in the 3rd week of January, all of a sudden your work or school is just piling on all of the work onto you. You're pulling late nights, you're really exhausted and lethargic during the day, you're drinking coffee just to stay alive, and when you finish a long day of work, all you want to do is come home and watch a movie. But what do you do instead? You go to the gym to stick to your goals. This could be emotionally catastrophic for you. Do you want to develop this unhealthy relationship with exercising or whatever goal it is that you're thinking of? Do you want to force yourself to do something when you physically cannot and don't want to do it? Sometimes wouldn't it be a better idea to just go home, have a nice meal, take care of yourself, look after your body, and look after your mental health most importantly? Or maybe you choose not to go to the gym and you go home and you binge out on food and you pass out, or you drink a ton of wine and you get drunk just to forget the current problems in your life. Maybe you use that as an excuse or a catalyst to begin hating yourself and throw all of your goals out the window, and then suddenly you're 3 weeks into January and you've already given up. The key is to finding the balance between going too hard into your goal and not going hard enough. This involves being extremely in tune with who you are as a person. I've taken so much time over the years to learn about what really sets me off. I've learned how to hone in my emotions and understand when I'm having just a bad day on the outside. Maybe I got a bad grade, maybe somebody yelled at me or made me feel like crap about myself. Sometimes those things will really get to me, and sometimes I just brush them off and I might be like, that felt weird, but it's not a big deal overall. I've learned how to understand the difference between those two emotions, and that understanding is what enables me to decide how to act on them. If it doesn't bother me, I just forget about it and I move on. If it does really bother me, I confront the people or the situations that are bothering me, I deal with them, and then I gain a better peace of mind. So following in that same example, if you are feeling super duper exhausted and maybe you don't want to work out, do you not want to work out because you're genuinely exhausted, or do you not want to work out because you're kind of being self-destructive? That's up to you. No one can tell you that but you. The whole point of this video is to give you the tools and you the ability to decide what kinds of goals are manageable for your life, what kinds of resolutions are going to make an impact in your life, and how to achieve them. So I know that the whole idea of losing weight in the new year and exercising and eating better is very overdone and it's very common, so let's talk about something a little bit different. So step one, maybe your broad, generalized goal for the new year is to be happy. Okay, well, there are a lot of facets to that. How are you going to become happy? How are you going to learn to love yourself in the next year? Step two, let's hone in that goal a little bit. Maybe you don't love yourself as a person, and maybe you don't love your soul because you haven't gotten to know yourself yet. Maybe you see yourself as a very volatile, angry person, or maybe you see yourself as too much of a pushover. Maybe you're always doing things for others and you sacrifice your self-worth and self-value for that. Whatever it is, figure out the generalized reason why you don't love yourself and do something to help that. So if you're typically a pushover with friends and you're always sacrificing your happiness to make others happy, maybe your New Year's resolution should be to say no when you want to say no. And yes, that is so terrifying, especially to people who have this habit of always giving up their happiness for others. But again, your goal should be scary. It should scare the crap out of you. You should be like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Like, everything is so scary. It's so much easier to continue being a pushover because that's what's expected of me. So much easier to remain angry because that's what's expected of me. But you know what? Real change in your life doesn't come through simplicity and ease. Real change comes through difficulty. I mean, think of any point in your life or any point in anyone else's life in which they've had a huge life-changing realization and it was easy. Think of someone that you find inspiring and amazing and genuine and authentic that hasn't dealt with something really shitty to contribute to that mindset. I mean, for example, in my own life, I spent the first 16 years of my life depressed, angry, volatile, awful, projecting my self-hate onto others, and now I'm 18 and I love myself and I make YouTube videos about self-love and positivity. That's weird. I didn't expect that would be my reality. But I made it my goal last year to learn to love myself, and here we are. Real change is possible if you set your mind to it, you make a narrowed down goal, and you're flexible with it. But don't go into 2016 thinking that it's going to be easy. And I guess just to wrap up that story, if your goal is to learn to love yourself, the final step is to be flexible. Maybe sometimes, if you're a pushover friend, maybe sometimes you'll say yes when you really wanted to say no. You can't take that back. But what you can do is you can say, you know what? It's a learning experience. Sometimes you regress. I can't tell you how many times during my self-love journey that I would just fall into this emotional pit and black hole of relapsing in my depression for a month or two or 3 months or whenever. I'd get so worried that I had relapsed and all of the work I had put in toward being happy and finding my true center and my true peace had disappeared. And then all of a sudden the fog would lift and I'd be happy again and I would say, wow, what a great learning experience. I'm really glad I went back and experienced that again because now I can appreciate all of the progress I've made. It's not gonna be easy and you gotta be flexible because if I had given up into that black hole and that fog when I was learning to love myself, I would not be the person I am today. I really genuinely hope that these tips are going to be helpful to you guys. I feel like a lot of this is common sense, but sometimes people need common sense thrown into their faces just to realize what to do. It's really simple to create and manifest a life that you're passionate and excited about. It's just not going to be as easy as we like to make it sound. Resolution in and of itself sounds like such a mystical, magical word. It makes you think that everything is brand new and fresh and wonderful. And yeah, it can be if you convince yourself that you can change this year. But it's not going to happen on January 1st. And you shouldn't want it to. Because as cliche as it sounds, honestly, the destination is the least fun part. The journey is everything. The journey teaches you the lessons, it shapes your personality, and it gives you memories to look back on for the rest of your life. Yeah, the destination's great, but the journey is always what you think about, it's always what you talk about, and it's always what you remember. Don't try to skip that part. It's the best part. I love you guys. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will talk to you in the next video, and yeah, bye. You will attract the right people to your life. You will attract the circumstances for you to travel or do whatever you want, and you will attract the correct energy into your life.